Checking. Check. Oh, all right. So it looks like audio's up and running. So sorry about this. A bunch of things. First off, this is a new machine, so it is a little bit more interesting than my old machine and a little bit stronger, but it's a new setup, so I apologize. And, this is something that I and the audio should be good now.
Check. Everything looks good on my end here. Give me 1 second. Can you hear me now? I'll give it just a moment.
Hopefully this is all going to go.
We'll just leave it here because this seems to be working out the best. All right. So basically what's going on is I made a lot of mistakes. I caused a lot of issues, and those issues led to the cast making decisions that were definitely in the right to do so. For the most part, and first off, I want to do one thing right now. 1 second. Thank you very much. I wanted to cover one very important thing, and that is that the cast was completely and absolutely correct when they chose to walk away. I do not bear any ill will. I'm not mad at them at all. They were absolutely and completely in the rights. It is not an easy thing to admit because everything about this was my fault. I had a lot of failings as, I guess you'd say, as a leader, because, I mean, in the end, I'm the one who started this entire mess. Both the mess with the people and the mess in general of doing this, this stream. I owe the cast, I mean, I've apologized to them, but I owe them a public apology as well, because I was very disrespectful. I was very inconsiderate, and it was pretty much, this entire situation is my fault. Now, there are some people who disagree with that. but there are definitely some extenuating circumstances that those people did not have any knowledge of because they were personal to my life and my marriage, and I did not want to disclose them, but they are there. One of those biggest failings is that I failed to listen to my wife. She told me when we first started, when we agreed to try and do a streaming show, she told me that she didn't want it to be on camera, but that she was going to be on camera to support me, to support the show, and that she wanted to do what she could, and she felt that was the best thing she could do at that time. But she told me in no certain terms that she did not want to be on camera. Those issues were the beginning of where everything went wrong. As we continued to try and do this, try and build up the show, the stress of being on camera 3 nights a week, the stress of being asked to step forward and for the most part perform for people, took its toll on her, and other issues of course happened. As some of you know, we in February we lost our home. We had to move in with family. We stopped the show that we had running in Houston. We lost our entire cast because we had to move, and it's the usual thing. I actually got laid off because my project that I was on got shut down, and then it was very difficult to find a job, and it was right going into when everything was shutting down with COVID. So we went through very, very, very stressful, very hard times, and those took a toll on my family and everyone's mental health. And when we got back on our feet, and my parents were amazing, and they took us in and they gave us a place to relaunch from, and we got back on our feet. And when we paid off everything and got back on our feet and we moved into our new place, I wanted to try streaming again. She was more than willing to help out again. But again reminded me she didn't want to be on camera, but she was willing to make that type of sacrifice in order to help out. So we went through the process of finding a new cast. We met some really amazing people. We started to put the show together. And as we moved forward, I got more and more into the idea of putting out as much content as possible to try and get as many people in to watch the show as possible. And I really got lost in that concept of I want to make a media channel, not just a gaming channel. So as we kept on going through this process and building everything out, I found some really great people who did amazing things. Anthony was an amazing creative director. He's the reason that the show's. As an example, this crappy little thing I threw together is nothing compared to the work that Anthony does. And so it was amazing to have these people on board. Josh Bunyan ran a show for me. And, Meg was a fucking badass mod, and she was our IT person. She would literally drive to other cities in the state of Texas to fix broken machines. And if anyone is native to Texas, you know that is not a small thing. It's like 5 hours to drive from one city to another. So when I say that I found amazing people, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So as things got more intense and we started putting out more content, my wife's mental health took a turn for the worse because it was just getting too much. And I did not listen. And then she began to have problems. And I was trying to keep her as part of the show because for my wife and I, gaming together is a huge thing, something we love doing. And the more content I created, the more I made it very apparent that the only way we were going to be able to game together was on the show. So I was refusing to listen to what my wife was telling me. The issues got to a point, and the cast brought it up, and Jessica decided to take a break from the show. But as I said, gaming is a big part of our personal lives together. It's literally how we met. And so she didn't want to give up on that. And she tried to force herself to come back before she was ready. And I should have listened. The cast was worried about it. They brought it up to me. I should have listened to them. I should have listened to my wife. And I didn't. So there was more incidences with behavior related to Jessica. She was not ready to come back. She knew it. I knew it. We all knew it. But she was trying to basically be able to spend time with me. And she liked being part of the show, and she wanted to be a more active part of it. But she wasn't ready. And it basically fell apart again. And this time she left the show again, left being on cast again. and we were taking steps in our personal lives to try and make the situation better, such as seeking therapy and stuff like that. And the basic situation boiled down to she wanted to come back again. This time the cast was much more vocal about, saying that they didn't think she was ready. And this time it had nothing to do with Jessica. This time it had nothing to do with, anything like that. This time it had to do with me. I pretty much refused to listen to anyone. And instead of taking the advice of people who were there to help me, I had a childish freak out. I had a tantrum, or I had whatever, but whatever you want to call it, I threatened to shut down the show rather than continue on without my wife. And clearly that was in no way, shape, or form the right thing to do. Because Jessica wasn't being helped by being on the show. And the cast was completely right to tell me that I needed to take a step back and look at it from the proper position and perspective. But I was the one who was completely in the wrong. I had a breakdown of professionalism. I had a breakdown in general. I even got so paranoid at one point that I was accusing people of trying to steal the show from me. I accused Anthony of trying to take over. And all Anthony was trying to do was help. So, due to that fact, due to my behavior, due to the situations that happened because of my behavior, the majority of the cast has stepped away from Dinner and a Game. I don't expect them to come back. I wouldn't even ask it of them. But I did want to come on to say that I am incredibly sorry for everything I did and for not listening to them, not being brave enough to accept the truth they were telling me, and not being adult enough to handle the situations that should have been handled. So, that's what the main thing I wanted to come on tonight and say was. The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that even though I messed up so much, I love gaming. And I don't want to give up on doing this. Obviously, with the cast leaving, All the stories that we were telling are over. Those stories are ended immediately. There is absolutely no way to continue on without them. And I would not even insult any of them by trying to recast for the same roles. That would be fucking beyond insulting. Jessica and I have taken time to assess the situation. We do want to continue with Dinner and a Game. But we do understand that what I did was the main cause of the problems we had. Both with the decision making and everything like that, and with the fact that we put way too much on stress on ourselves and on our cast by having so many shows that were exclusively supposed to be a part-time thing and just doing it for fun, and we put way too much out there. So as of now, we are going to be doing a much more limited scope. I'm going to attempt to get another game going. I'm going to be running it probably on Saturdays. Well, more than likely on Saturdays. With scheduling and everything like that, I don't think I could run it any other day but Saturday and still make it as to minimize the stressful impact on our personal lives and to minimize the impacts that it would have on the people who hopefully will be playing. I need to make sure that it is on a night and a day when most everyone can make it without really having to bend their schedules. So we're looking at Saturdays for our show, probably in the evenings. I am, however, like I said, we are starting over almost from scratch. Jessica is going to continue to step back from the show. We're actually going to start playing home games, so we can, because she loves gaming, and I don't want her to have to feel uncomfortable with the idea of being on camera, to be able to enjoy a hobby that I hope she still loves and still wants to be a part of. And I hope I didn't ruin that. But, so we're going to go ahead and see what we can do to rectify the situation. As I said, I'm not asking any of the original cast to come back because that would be rude at best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I guess for the best of better, the only way we'll put it is hold auditions. We are going to set up the new campaign with 4 consistent spots, 4 consistent players. I may have 2 already. So we have 2 more spots to try and fill. What we're also going to try and do is something that probably we should have thought of in the beginning, but we're going to try and be much more inclusive. Let's face it, I'm the GM and I've pretty much got CIS male covered. Technically, I'm Hispanic. But with the last name of Smith, and pale as I am in this light, I highly doubt that anyone would I highly doubt that it would be anything less than insulting to try and say I'm anything but white. So what the heck? Sorry about that, guys. There we go. All right, so I would have to say that I would want to see more diversity in our cast, but with technically a 5-member cast because it's a GM. So we are going to be looking for people who are interested in heavy story, who are interested in long format play, and which means long extended campaigns, and who would be available for a weekly game on Saturdays, probably from 5 to 6 p.m. until 10 at the latest, 4 hours schedule block. And if we can keep our fans and we can keep our subs going, we're going to be changing how we do business as a company. Instead of the situations we were looking at before, if we can grow and we can get to a point, we want to be able to give back to the people who are going to come on the show, which means we're going to try and pay people. So, in the meantime, until we can get to that point, and we are going to set a structure that's going to be clearly defined, that's going to show people at what point we will be able to do that, and if they want to be a part of that until that point. But all this aside, we are doing our best to make sure that we try and have as much structure that we did not have previously. Oops. Oh well. That we did not have previously. We're trying to make sure that we have everything set up to where people will be able to feel comfortable coming in and know what their expectations are, and know what is expected of them, and know what we're trying to accomplish as a group. We're going to try and build a better future for Dinner and a Game. We can't set aside what happened in the past, because what happened is a learning experience, and no matter how painful it is a learning experience that I have taken to heart. And I'm sorry. I want to make sure that everyone understands that what happened is not going to happen again, because there is no way to have this experience not change how you see yourself and not help you understand that you need to be able to that you need to have the ability to say you're sorry when you make mistakes, and understand that sometimes you can't make amends for the things you've done, and that those actions can't be taken back. So, with that in mind, that is about all I had to say tonight. I appreciate everyone for coming out. I want you guys to hopefully stick around. We're going to be posting up stuff on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter, TikTok, everything like that, announcing the recruitments that we're going to try and do, and we're going to having some one-offs that are going to be happening. We're recruiting for a D&D 5e table, and we're going to start out this month, and we're going to do our best to see if we can get some people in who are interested, and we will see what happens. There's nothing really other than that I had to say this evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming in, and remember, no matter what, Dinner and a Game, we will always save you a seat at the table.